All right, let's jump right into an explainer where intense medical dissidence crashes headfirst into a literal true crime mystery. We're unpacking a story that challenges some of the most fundamental ideas we hold about human nutrition, and it ends in a way that sounds like it was pulled straight out of a thriller novel. This is all about a man who looked at global medical guidelines, decided they were fundamentally wrong, and in the process, might have crossed some very, very powerful lines. So Dr. Dia Alawadi, he wasn't just some fringe outsider making YouTube videos in his basement. He was a highly respected professor and an intensive care anesthesiologist in Cairo. But as he started developing these highly unorthodox nutritional theories, his popularity completely skyrocketed in the Arab world. And that popularity triggered a massive economic hit to major food industries. This whole saga ultimately culminated in a fateful trip to Dubai with a poultry company CEO. A trip that ended in Dr. Alawadi's sudden, highly mysterious death.
But before we could even begin to unpack the mystery of his demise and what actually happened in that Dubai hotel room, we have to ask exactly what he was preaching. What kind of nutritional advice disrupts multi-million-dollar agricultural empires? To understand the end of his life, we really have to look at the explosive theories that defined his entire career.
That brings us to Section 1, sugar. Is it a poison or is it vital fuel? For Dr. Al-Awadi, standard clinical guidelines weren't the ultimate truth. He viewed them as just a way to orient treatments, but not necessarily the path to a definitive cure. While pretty much the entire global medical consensus views sugar, specifically sucrose and glucose, as this white poison driving the diabetes and obesity epidemics, Al-Awadi argued the exact opposite. He claimed that sugar extracted from natural sources shouldn't be considered a toxin at all. Instead, he proposed that it's literally the vital fuel and fundamental structural raw material required for human life and cellular division. And to back this up, he pointed to one specific number, 12. He claimed that the human body uses glucose as the absolute foundational building block to manufacture 12 essential amino acids. These are the amino acids absolutely required for building muscle mass and for cellular division, like creating DNA. In his view, the glycogen stored in your muscles isn't just some backup battery pack for energy. It's the actual physical, structural material your body needs to regenerate itself.
Moving right along to Section 2, the rescue mechanism theory.
Now, you're probably wondering, okay, if sugar is supposed to be so great, why does high blood sugar cause so much damage? Well, Al-Awadi introduced what he called the rescue mechanism. He defined this as a primal defensive response. He argued that high blood sugar isn't the cause of your illness. It's actually the body's desperate attempt to feed the brain and the immune system during a massive crisis. When your body faces severe stress, trauma, or inflammation, emergency hormones like cortisol and adrenaline sound the alarm. This forces the body to dump sugar into the bloodstream just to ensure your survival. To really put that into perspective, he stated that during emergencies, the human liver can synthesize over half a kilo of sugar in a single day, entirely on its own, just by using internal acids and alcohols. Think about that. Even if you consume absolutely zero carbohydrates, your liver is going to manufacture this massive amount of glucose just to keep your vital systems running when you're going through a trauma. He actually loved using this firefighter analogy, and it makes his perspective incredibly clear. He argued that just because sugar levels are sky-high during severe inflammation or a heart attack, it absolutely doesn't mean the sugar caused the heart attack. He said blaming sugar for the disease is like blaming the firefighter for the burning building just because they happen to be at the scene. The sugar is there to save you, not to kill you. Building on that, he even took aim at our use of insulin. He viewed insulin as merely a localized digestive hormone. He pointed out that 99% of pancreas function is dedicated purely to producing digestive enzymes, with insulin making up just a tiny, tiny fraction of its output. He claimed insulin is meant to act locally on the muscles and then be broken down. According to him, having all this excess insulin circulating broadly in the bloodstream is highly harmful and totally ignores the root causes of the pre-diabetic stage.
So what do you do with that information? Let's look at Section 3, the alternative diet protocol.
Based on those wild theories, he developed a natural protocol that completely rejected pharmaceutical chemicals. His rules were simple, but honestly pretty jarring if you're used to standard medical advice. First, he told patients to entirely eliminate vegetables rich in insoluble fibers. He literally referred to them as indigestible plastic that just tears up the digestive tract. Second, restrict all modern genetically modified wheat and rye. Third, he actually encouraged eating natural sugars like honey, cane, and beet sugar, calling them the perfect biological design. And finally, only eat and drink when you are genuinely hungry or thirsty, no forcing it.
But here's the real kicker. The most intense part of his protocol revolves around the number 16. He mandated intense dry fasting for his followers. We're talking absolutely no food and zero water for anywhere between 10 to 16 hours a day, at least 2 days a week. And he wasn't calling this starvation. He believed this extreme dry fasting was a highly targeted biological tool. By depriving the body of food and water, you force it to self-manage. You intentionally trigger that rescue mechanism we talked about earlier. He claimed this forces the liver to internally produce its own pure, highly efficient sugar and structural amino acids, basically allowing the body to heal itself naturally, completely without medication. Which leads us directly into Section 4, clashing with medical standards.
Naturally, the traditional medical community pushed back, and they pushed back hard against an intensive care specialist trying to just rewrite endocrinology. To keep things balanced in this explainer, we absolutely have to look at the mainstream rebuttals. Dr. Omar al-Sadani fiercely criticized Awawadi in these intense public debates. He pointed out that Awawadi was completely ignoring decades of internationally documented science that shows the severe vascular complications caused by high blood sugar. Al-Sadani famously dismissed these theories as being entirely alien to standards of evidence.
But it didn't stop at medical debates. Section 5, the industrial confrontation.
Look, Dr. Alawadi's advice went incredibly viral. His followers began strictly boycotting industrially raised poultry and modern modified wheat. And because almost every country considers wheat and sugar to be literal matters of national food security, his influence started moving markets. His protocols reportedly caused millions in actual financial losses for massive agricultural and poultry corporations, particularly in Egypt. Suddenly, he wasn't just a rogue doctor with a YouTube channel, he was a direct threat to agro-industrial powers.
Which brings us right back to the climax of this explainer, that fateful trip to Dubai. Dr. Alawadi travels to a hotel in Dubai, invited by a supposed friend. The really striking detail here, this friend just happened to be the director of a major Egyptian poultry company. Literally the exact same industry suffering massive financial losses because of Alawadi's viral dietary boycotts. The outcome of this trip was his sudden, unexplained death right there in that hotel room.
And look, this isn't just internet conspiracy theory stuff. His own personal lawyer officially confirmed the sudden death, releasing a statement noting that the exact cause of death remains unclear and that the conditions surrounding it are highly uncertain and suspicious. A perfectly healthy doctor suddenly passing away with no clear medical cause instantly fueled immense suspicion among his millions of followers.
It leaves us with a pretty chilling final thought to walk away with. Was Dr. Dia Alawadi simply a passionate, unorthodox doctor who tragically and naturally passed away on a business trip, or did his radical biochemical theories about sugar, wheat, and the pharmaceutical industry threaten the wrong empires? We may never know the whole truth, but his story fundamentally challenges us to ask who truly decides what goes on our plates. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning what you consume.